Hello everyone, and welcome to a Team YANTSU interview for 2018. We have a wonderful special guest here for you guys today. I hope you guys really enjoy him. He's really fun, very informative. Welcome, Karl Fruendt. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Karl Fruendt, just like your front door. I'm a Joint Logistics Operations Officer for NORAD and U.S. Northern Command, but every year I am proud to be the voice of NORAD Tracks Santa.
And we're definitely very glad you got involved with that. It's a really cool thing to listen to you every single year, and we've really enjoyed it. So how did you get involved with this program in the first place?
I first heard about NORAD Tracks Santa during a Air Force Academy Christmas concert in 2011. I was working at NORAD, and I said, well, yeah, I knew the story and that sort of thing, and I was like, well, shoot, I could do that. In 2012, NORAD and Northcom put out an email saying they were looking for someone to do some voiceover work for the NORAD Tracks Santa program. Well, that sounds like fun. I could do that. And they also needed some volunteers to hand out souvenirs and tchotchke at a couple of events. And what I volunteered for was the Christmas concerts with the United States Air Force Academy Band. And they would give me 2 minutes on stage to pitch the NORAD Tracks Santa story. So my first opportunity to tell it in public was in 2012. And then in 2013, they said, hey, let's do some more. Would you like to, cut some audio? And I said, absolutely. It sounds like fun. So a request went out. I said, yep, I can do that, would love to do that, and I've been doing it ever since.
So I'm sure you probably already know that before 2013, everybody used to do voiceovers for the program. There were several people that would come in and record audio, but now you are the sole voice of NORAD Tracks Santa. What's that been like for you?
What an honor and a privilege it is. As a broadcaster, we don't mind talking to people, and this is a great story to tell, but I figured it'd be 1 year, one and I'm done, and it go from there. But they liked my enthusiasm, they liked my voice, and I'm just tickled and honored to be a part of it. So it is truly a pleasure to be a part of this program.
So for us doing this show, we're used to doing voice work and entertaining people, but what's the voiceover process been like for you when it comes to recording these lines?
I put myself back in the radio studio. When you're a broadcaster, you're talking into a microphone on radio, or you're talking into a camera on TV. So what I do is I bring my broadcasting background into this. I make it fun. I'm talking to one person, whoever that person is. And what makes it fun for me is I'm able to share a great story about a wonderful program and hopefully bring some holiday magic into people's lives. Maybe they haven't heard the story yet. Maybe they want to hear it again. And when I'm doing the voiceovers, it's just so fun because, wow, what would it be like to see Santa over Rome or Santa over Sydney flying around? And if I was that reporter right there, I would be giving it all the enthusiasm as I have on the tracks and that sort of thing. So it's as fun for me, hopefully, as it is for the listener.
I know for me and for several of my coworkers here at Team YANTSU, when we record our lines for things, we have to go through several takes, or we might have technical issues. What have some of the issues been for you when it comes to recording these lines? Are you doing like 200 takes on certain phrases, and you're just trying to get it just right the way you want? Like, what's that like?
Well, yeah, the blooper reel would probably be a lot of fun if someone were to put that together, but no, it's usually, I'll go over the script a couple days in advance before we cut the audio and go from there. So yeah, there's, especially the foreign words and towns and that sort of thing. Every now and then they'll update some of the Santa cams for particular, 1 year we updated one of the particular Santa cams because of an earthquake in a particular region of the world.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And that Santa will truly be there, and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I practice saying words in French, Russian. I haven't mastered any Mandarin Chinese yet, but I do take it to heart, and I want to make it sound local for the folks wherever they're at around the world. But yeah, it's sometimes 2 or 3 takes on a particular script isn't far from normal.
It's really cool because we just talked with Jamie Robertson, who was one of the founders of bringing NORAD Tracks Santa to the internet last year, and he told us that from the very beginning, the idea was if you're going to do something in another language, make it sound as local and authentic as possible. So I'm very glad to hear that you guys are continuing to still make that as authentic as possible. Even though they've been doing this since like 1998, the tradition is still there to make this feel as realistic as possible for the locals.
Absolutely, and we have foreign voices that we've used in the past, and they too, they want to make it right. I met the French lady, and I met the person who did some Spanish translations in the past, and we do. It's such a wonderful story, and we bring a enthusiasm to it that we want to bring smiles to people's faces, and NORAD Tracks Santa absolutely does that.
So I know you've just been on for the last few years, but what have some of your fondest memories been with working with this program?
When a couple things come to mind. One of the neatest things, I was at a concert one time, and I gave the NORAD Tracks Santa pitch on stage, and afterwards, I had someone come up to me, and they said, "I knew Colonel Schaup, and we're so glad that you guys are doing it." So for someone who knew the originator, I wish I could have met him because he sounds like a wonderful man. But we're carrying on that tradition, so that made me feel great. As anybody goes to a conference, or you're introducing yourself to someone at a meeting or something like that, an icebreaker scenario, oftentimes I'll introduce myself. "Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Fruendt, Joint Logistics Officer, NORAD Northcom," and they go, "Well, anything special about you?" And I said, "Well, I'm the voice of NORAD Tracks Santa." And then the audience will just absolutely forget what I'm doing or who I am, but they'll remember, "Hey, you're that guy that does Santa." And I've actually had a couple of people ask me, "Will you call my kid on Christmas Eve and give him a Santa update?" And I said, "Absolutely, I will." So for the past few years, wherever I've been, I will make it a point to find the time to call that family and talk to the kids.
Now, when it comes to recording your lines, since you're such a prolific voice for the program, do you have any say in the script? Are you allowed to change words out or anything like that? Or based on your words, do you have any say in the input towards maybe what the cams are going to look like along with your voice?
No, that is well, I have some say. I will adjust the scripts to my pacing and my style, but the essence of the message I leave up to the NORAD Tracks Santa folks, so that the message is clear throughout all of the scripts and that sort of thing. There's the radio updates that we do. Are you familiar with those?
We used to be really familiar with those, but in the last few years, not so much, because I know they've been really pushing more towards OnStar and stuff like that. I know a lot of local radio stations, you guys can send them updates, or if they're watching through the website, local radio can do it that way.
Right, and that's what we do too. I just got we have the NORAD Santa Flight Path update at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour. Well, for 24 hours, that's 48 takes. That's 48 different cuts tracking Santa around the world. That one, that was a long session, and I would change a few things, but just for my style and my pace. And instead of Lincoln, Nebraska, I chose Topeka, Kansas as one of the focal points. So Topeka is my home. So that's of all of the ones that they've done. or I've done, I only changed that one to make it a little more personal.
It's very surprising, the people we've met in the last few years who actually come from like either the Plains or the Midwest that have been involved with the NORAD Tracks Santa program. So it's kind of cool to see you guys all representing that area.
It's wonderful because when you're driving across the Midwest and that sort of thing, and you see the Christmas lights, you see the displays in the town squares and that sort of thing, Christmas is alive and well across America, and we are proud to be a part of that holiday spirit.
Now, before you were even involved with this program, were you actually like watching this with your kids? Were you involved in checking this out on the web every Christmas Eve?
Oh, absolutely. I have 4 children, all of them almost, I've got 2 teenagers and 2 grown-ups now. And so, yeah, we've been doing this for the past 20 years, I guess, and NORAD Tracking Santa and making sure, okay, it's time to go to bed. Here he is, and that sort of thing. So when I did it with my kids, obviously it's a great family memory and a moments that you never forget. But then 10 years later, when I'm actually cutting the audio and speaking to people at concerts and that sort of thing, and the hundreds and thousands of folks telling the NORAD story, it's absolutely incredible that what I did with my family, I'm now sharing with people, well, around the United States and literally around the world.
All right, so we have a few bonus questions for you. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Over all these years you've been involved with the program, have you met any really cool people involved with NORAD Tracks Santa? Like, what are some of the fun people you've got to meet over the years?
The volunteers themselves are probably the most exciting part of this program. When you have anyone from generals down to 1 and 2 stripers who put on a Santa hat and put their headsets on and are talking to kids from around the world, you just can't help but fall in love with a program like this. When I'm out in the public, I will have people who will come up and say, oh yeah, I was a Santa tracker with my kids, and then one year I got to work in the operations center. So it's just wonderful that it doesn't matter your rank structure, it doesn't matter who you are, male, female, we all just have a lot of fun. So anytime I meet someone who has ever tracked Santa with their kids, or especially the folks who work the operations center, every one of those people, I just want to give them a hug and say thanks.
Now, speaking about the Operations Center, we have to ask this question every single time we do one of these interviews. What has the Ops Center been like for you? Because every experience is authentic.
I actually work the real world NORAD US Northcom Operations Center, and when I am working the real world Operations Center, I know all the things that are going on, that sort of thing. When it comes to the NORAD Tracks Santa Operations Center, it is as detailed, it is as professional, and sometimes it is as chaotic as our real world Operations Center. Phones are ringing, people talking, emails flying, attention in the command center, we have an update, so on and so forth. So it's amazing what we do in the Operations Center. The spirit is just through the roof. We're having a good time. Fresh coffee's being made. Cookies are being served. Hey, can I get a bottle of water? Or hey, so-and-so, we need someone who can speak Spanish right quick, or whatever. And we're right there just making the mission happen. And for the folks that are doing their shifts, it's the quickest 2 hours they've ever had, and probably the funnest 2 hours they've ever had.
Now, for you being involved with the program, I know for a lot of these volunteers, they only get like 2 hours at a time on the phones or doing emails or stuff just for their Christmas Eve. But have you worked like a really long shift just to say you did it?
No.
No.
No. I've helped set up the Operations Center, as far as getting it set up and that sort of thing. But my reward gets to be sharing the story with others, and that sort of thing, and making sure that people know about it. People ask me, when can I sign up and how can I sign up? So I make sure that I get them the opportunity to do it. I've already, pitched in and helped, and I want other people to be able to share in that fun as well.
Of course, the whole tradition of Christmas is to have fun and spend time with family and friends. And I mean, this program is like the best possible way to get all of that covered, all the bases covered.
Absolutely. And when families come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, we track Santa with our kids. We are so glad you're doing that," it just brings a smile to my face and warms my heart.
Now, we wouldn't be able to completely do this interview without asking you this one little last question. We have to ask everybody this every year. I know you've probably signed some things that probably say you can't give away too much. Is there some fun new stuff coming that we should be ready for?
Oh, absolutely. But you'll have to wait till Christmas Eve and find out when NORAD tracks Santa.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karl Fruendt, for taking part in this interview.